You know who else is the man?
Gabe Henderson.
And I was going to say Carly Zucker.
Okay, that's
She's a lady.
Why, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome, but you're the man.
I'll take it.
You're the man.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
she is. Good one, dude.
Yeah, right.
Carly, Gabe, Carly.
Hi, Gabe.
Hey, how's it going?
It's great.
Hey, Gabe, have you met Carly yet?
I have not met Carly yet. I'm a little upset you guys have not let me meet any of you guys from the Power Trip yet.
Okay,
this
well, if you don't know her, then she's the female Ben Lieber.
That's exactly.
Okay.
That's well said. Yeah.
Just you can process
Basically,
that.
Vikings expert.
Yeah.
That is a huge
That's
compliment.
how. Yeah.
Sure.
Yep, that's true.
Gabe, how did you feel about the end of that game? Were you relieved? Were you frustrated? Were you euphoric? What was your emotion when Joseph hit that kick and they actually won 19-17?
I felt I was confused because I was still thinking about the drive before where Alexander Madison fumbled. They scored the 2-point conversion, and I'm like, what just happened? So when they went down and 3 plays, I think about 40-45 yards, and we kicked the field goal, I was still thinking about the fumble that Madison had, and I'm just like, man, we almost lost this game. And that was the only thing that came to mind. I walked up the steps. I sit between PA and Burstich during the games, and I walked up the steps and looked at Chad Abbott, and I was like, man, this does not feel good. But once we started talking this out, Lieber and PA and I was like, okay, a win is a win. When you look at the Bengals game, where we're one drive away from winning the game, or the Arizona Cardinals game, where we're one kick away from winning the game. I just kept saying, okay, you take the wins whenever you can get them. It's a league. It's a make or miss league. It's pretty much every play goes down to the wire every game. So I was like, okay, I'll take this win and go from there, but I'm gonna forget about it as quickly as I can.
Go ahead, Ben.
Well, I was just gonna say, so it was therapeutic to sort of hash everything out after the game. So what were some of your? I know that we were focused on the way that it was handled at the end of the first half and the fumble and just some of the thought process and play calling, and the game seemed clunky, right? But there were some positives, and you had a bunch of positives. So what positive things did you pull from it, even from an individual performance?
Yeah, I think outside of JJ, who had 104 receiving yards in the first half, I gotta say Adam Thielen, for a guy that had a drop in the first half, only had 2 targets in the first half, didn't have a target pretty much until the last drive of the game. I was thoroughly impressed by how he stayed locked in. I know he's a veteran receiver, and he's one of those guys that you say, okay, well, he's a pro, he's supposed to do what he's supposed to do, but being a former receiver, it bothers you when you're, expected to get 5 or 6 catches a game, and then you have a drop, and then don't see another target until the end of the game. So the fact that he locked in on that last drive of the game, 2 catches, 40 yards, literally on that last drive, and set us up in field position, I was thoroughly impressed with him. I honestly think Garrett Bradbury played a pretty good game also. I know Oli Udoh wasn't his best game, but, I feel like this offensive line goes as Garrett Bradbury goes. So those on the offensive side of the ball are my 2 standouts. And then defensively, Mackenzie Alexander is putting together a silent, scary season. We haven't really heard much from him. And as a DB, you don't want to hear anything from your DBs. And Mackenzie Alexander, the only time we see him is when he's making a tackle behind the line of scrimmage or just making a PBU. So those are 3 guys from yesterday that I could say I was I left with the positive taste in my mouth from those 3 guys.
Gabe, obviously we've seen this rush defense get a little beat up. They gave up, 104 or 5 yards yesterday. And there is a very good chance, and they might be without Michael Pierce again this week, but the Carolina Panthers might have CMC. Your thoughts?
Yeah, if I'm the Carolina Panthers, I'm trying to run the ball downhill, but I think Anthony Barr, having him back for another week, I think that helps us out in the run game. We haven't had that physical presence right there that's been able to, to make plays in the middle or on the outside since last week for 18 straight games before this past Sunday. So if I'm the Carolina Panthers, I'm trying to get them out in space, but I like our chances. Call me too optimistic, but I like my chances when it comes to our run defense versus Carolina Panthers run offense. I think, they try to get their ball on the outside and try to make plays, down the field, I guess just say east and west versus north and south. So I like our chances there, but we definitely gotta improve this week going into our bye week after the Panthers game.
It's interesting that you bring up Barr because you and I talked about this after the game as well. But and I know that people are going to be stat hunting when they say, well, he had a good game or a bad game. But I just want to say from a top-down perspective, doesn't the defense just seem better with 55 out there?
Yeah, absolutely. I was telling you yesterday, before I knew anything about the Vikings, before I accepted this job, the first person that I thought of outside looking in when I thought of the Minnesota Vikings defense was Anthony Barr. Just a big physical presence. I'm like, man, this guy, they don't make many players like this in the NFL. So when actually getting out here and moving up here last year and seeing him the first game of the season against the Packers and then getting hurt, I'm like, man, this is like a complete contrast between the defense that I expected and the defense that's out here now. So having him back, I'm like, okay, now, even if he didn't make a tackle yesterday, I would have been like, the fact that 55 is back out there, I'm happy. I'm happy with that. I can live with that. So I know he'll continue to make plays as time goes on, but just his presence alone, I think that gives offensive coordinators, problems just, game planning for a guy like that. So I'm excited just to see 55 back in purple.
Right on. Thanks, Gabe.
Thanks, babe.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.